Player says Baltas gave me this rope to climb down, but it might take a while. Should I go now? Option 1 of 2, climb down the shaft. Player says there are a lot of different coins down here. How odd, it's not like this is a saint's well. Oh, a tablet. There's still writing on it. Player says oh, it's a poem. I think it's a love note. Option 1 of 4AW, that's cute. Option 2 of 4HEHE. Rising passion. Option 3 of 4POORJ. I hope her lover was better at things other than poetry. Option 4 of 4UGH. I would have chucked this shit down a mine shaft, too. Option 2 of 4HEHE. Rising passion. Player says oh, this looks like a larger version of some of Balta's contraptions. This winch must have been attached to some sort of hauling and pulley system. Fascinating. Now that I'm down here, I should see what I can find from the Roman era and before. Oh, bones. They're far too big to be human. Cave. Mine shaft. Oh, a piece of pottery. It's beautiful. Oh, these must be the same kind of figurines Till and the other farmers find in the fields. To think that there are so many remnants of our ancestors scattered in fields and caves like this. Oh, these must be the same. To think that there are so many remnants of our ancestors scattered in fields and caves like this. Here's another piece. This pottery is scattered everywhere. Mine shaft. Cave. Ooh, another piece. Cave. Yet another pottery piece. There's a Latin inscription here. Tasha give me water or Pluto preserve me, this salt is drying me to death, yikes. Doesn't sound like working down here was pleasant. Player says oh, this looks like a Roman map of Tassing. I wonder what's changed. Let's see if I can map everything out. There's the aqueduct and the spring. The abbey was an old fort up on the hill, and there's the rest of town. Wait, what's this building? I don't recognize it. Mithrium. I don't recognize that word from any of my books. I can't quite tell what it's meant to label on the map. Maybe some sort of temple? Well, whatever it is, it's not in Tassing now. That's so odd. Player says this almost looks like an altar. But what would an altar be doing in a salt mine? It's even carved out of the salt. I think it's a statue of Mithras. He's usually depicted with a dagger and torch. It's less detailed than I expected. Player says, hey, this piece looks like it matches the other piece I found. Another inscription. It's not very formal. A worker must have carved it. Laetus' soul ascended in the Mithrium, my soul will descend in this damned hall of salt. Christ, that's rough. Mithrium, like a temple to Mithras? Oh, another shard. More Latin writing. If we cannot enter the Mithrium, we will make our own altar to the gods. There's that word again. Mithrium. It must have been an important place for the Romans. Mine shaft. Cave. Another shard. Another piece. I wonder if they're all the same pot. I have a lot of these pottery pieces. I should find out if they're all from the same pot. Player says got it. The figures on this pot lid look like they're telling a story. These paintings must depict an early myth, even before the Romans. Let's see. This must be Perchta, and those must be forest spirits. Part of the wild hunt? Oh, God. The next part looks like a human sacrifice. Someone, maybe a chieftain, is sacrificing a man to Perchta. The bottom half of the lid continues the story. These look like spirits. That must be how our ancestors tried to keep Tassing safe. They offered sacrifices to Perchta. Option 1 of 3 to think that our ancestors made this and I'm holding it now. Maybe this is what I could paint in the mural. Option 2 of 3 this is part of our history, but I'm not sure this is the best story to portray. Option 3 of 3 it's barbaric, and very pagan. I doubt anyone would want to see our past shown this way. Option 1 of 3 to think that our ancestors made this and I'm holding it now. Maybe this is what I could paint in the mural. Option 2 of 3 this is part of our history, but I'm not sure this is the best story to portray. Player says I'll have to think more about it before I decide for certain. Alright, I'd better keep going before I run out of oil in my lamp. Player says oh, a cave-in. The wood here looks newer than the first part of the mine. Was this collapse recent? I won't be able to go any further with all the rubble. I suppose this is as far as I can go. Still, the murals on the wall showed me what Tassing was like when the Romans were here. I wonder if I can find out where the Mithraeum was, or what it is. And putting the pottery shard back together showed one of the earliest stories of Tassing. I think I've seen everything I can down here, and my oil is running out. Time to climb back out. Exit mine. Player says ah. Wait, who's that? Hello? Is someone there? I'd better get out of this shaft before another rock comes crashing down. Player says who was that? Even Apollo and Artemis would have helped me out of here. Well, now that I have more information, I can make some decisions on the first section of the mural. I should get back to the Rathaus and get to work. Mine shaft. Player says I don't have any reason to go back in. Besides, I'm too busy with the mural. Waterfall. Old salt mine. Hauler says you. Option 1 of 2 why yes? Option 2 of 2 say nothing. Option 1 of 2 why yes? Hauler says I'm Hauler Brandt, the Lord's gamekeeper. Why are you grazing pigs in the woods? Option 1 of 4 I am not. That's not my pig. Option 2 of 4 was that you watching me a few minutes ago? That rock almost hit me. Option 3 of 4 I am the printer's daughter, Magdalene Druck Aaron. Option 4 of 4 do I look like I raise pigs? Option Hauler says I didn't ask for your name. I asked why you were grazing pigs here. Answer me. Option 1 of 3 that's not my pig. Option 2 of 3 was that you watching me a few minutes ago? That rock almost hit me. Option 3 of 3 do I look like I raise pigs? Option 2 of 3 was that you watching me a few minutes ago? That rock almost hit me. Hauler says watching you? No. Rock? I don't know what you're talking about. Now answer me. Option 1 of 2 that's not my pig. Holler says I've been walking around this forest for hours. Other than the charcoal burner and the tinker, you're the only other person I've seen. If the pig doesn't belong to you, what are you doing here? Option 1 of 3 I was, in the salt mine. Option 2 of 3 lie I'm with child and I, just had a craving for acorns. Option 3 of 3 does everyone have to justify being in the woods? Option 1 of 3 I was, in the salt mine. Holler says doing what? Wait, I don't care. Just tell me whose pig this is. Option 1 of 3 I don't know. The pig was in the woods when I came in here. Option 2 of 3 it could belong to anyone. Option 3 of 3 what if I say it is mine? Option 1 of 3 I don't know. The pig was in the woods when I came in here. Holler says a mysterious lost pig, who apparently belongs to no one. Option 1 of 2 I suppose so. Option 2 of 2 say nothing. Option 1 of 2 I suppose so. Holler says if I find any more pigs in these woods I'll kill them on the spot. And those who brought them here. Do you understand? Option 1 of 2 why yes. Option 2 of 2. Option 1 of 2 why yes. Holler says good. Remind your neighbors what happens when you break the Lord's laws. Player says I knew the Lord's men patrolled these woods but I've never seen one before. I didn't realize they were so strict. I suppose I should consider myself lucky. Anyway, time to get out of these woods and back to work at the rot house. Forest. Trying to stay Apollo. Trying to stay Artist help. Metal. Forest. Trying to Mill. Smoky Tom. Church and Burgers. Mass. Mill. Thomas. Arden Mill. Martin Wiggles Lobby. Drug House. Central Town. Church and Burgers. Steiner House. North Town. Central Town. Rot House. Rot House. North Town. Work on mural. OTZ says hey, Mags. How's the mural coming along? Option 1 of 3 Magdalene. Option 2 of 3 for Christ's sake, OTZ. Option 3 of 3 sigh heavily. Option 1 of 3 Magdalene. OTZ says can't you let it go? Mags is so much easier. Player says no, Otto Zimmerman, I can't. OTZ says ugh, don't call me, fine. Anyway, Magdalene. How's the mural going? It doesn't look like much yet. Option 1 of 3 WELL, of course it doesn't look like anything now. Option 2 of 3 NO work of art appears significant at the start. You think Michelangelo was born a great sculptor? Option 3 of 3 WHAT would you know about it? Do you even know the difference between egg tempera and oil paint? Option 1 of 3 WELL, of course it doesn't look like anything now. Option 2 of 3 NO work of art appears significant at the start. You think Michelangelo was born a great sculptor? OTZ says I suppose not. So, Magdalangelo, what are you doing? Player says I only just finished priming the wall. Now I have to decide what to depict. It's hard to piece together the history of Tassing when it happened so long ago. Since the Abbey Library burned, I can only rely on stories from people around Tassing. Even what I could find out about the Romans and pagans was obscure. I had to go into the old salt mine to find anything. At least now I know what to paint for the first part of the mural. OTZ says so? What is it? Option 1 of 4 ILL use the pottery and tools the farmers have found to show how we lived before the Romans. Option 2 of 4 Smokey told me a story about the god Mars as a wolf, the nymph Tasha, and how the spring was blessed. Option 3 of 4 ILL Peter remembered a legend about a chieftain, Ritus, who healed a wolf that led him to our spring. Option 4 of 4 ILL recreate an image I found in the mine. It showed how our ancestors made human sacrifices to appease Perchta and the spirits. OTZ says human sacrifice? Don't you think that's a bit much? I don't know how the rest of town will take it, especially Father Thomas. So what made you choose this story, anyway? Option 1 of 3 I don't think we should hide our pagan past. This is what our people did. Option 2 of 3 I think the pottery I found is a better source than stories that have been passed down by mouth. Option 3 of 3 I think it will make for the most beautiful artwork. Option 2 of 3. I think the pottery I found is a better source than stories that have been passed down by mouth. OTZ says I guess that's true. Still, I think it will shock some people, especially Father Thomas. Thanks for explaining it. Option 1 of 2. Of course. I want you all to understand why I'm making these choices. Option 2 of 2. You re-welcome. Option 1 of 2. Of course. I want you all to understand why I'm making these choices. Player says, well, now that I've figured this portion of the mural out, I'd better start thinking about next section. OTZ says I'll leave you to it. Magdalene. Player says good night, OTZ. OTZ says good night, Magdalene. Player says now that I've decided how to depict Tassing's earliest history, I should decide how to paint Kearsaw's history. Mother Illuminata's letter mentioned that a Matthew Fosiniso used to be a brother in Kearsaw. She said he knew a great deal about the Abbey's history. I should write to him and ask him what he remembers. Oh, and I have Esther's letter to answer, too. I should write to them both now, before bed. Oh, before I write, I should read that old book Brigida gave me. Maybe I'll learn something pertinent for the murals. Right. Player says all right, where to begin? Right, the old book. It was the Baron's, before Martin stole it. Player says, when the Romans, having conquered the town, built up the walls around it, they established many temples there. This is harder to read than I thought. The book isn't in great shape either, since it's been sitting in a farmer's house for so long. Let's see. Oh, here's a section about the various dedications erected in the town. That might be easier to read. Ergo simulacrum in ager ut Mars nostrum operum conspiciat. I raise a vision in a field so that Mars may behold our work. Sedite Diana locos scache originosis ipsa. Diana sat in a place with water oozing up from herself. What does that mean? Ormus ut defendat oppidum. Let us pray so that he, or she, may defend the town. None of this really makes any sense. Maybe someone with better Latin than me could help me read it. The book is so big, though, it would be a lot of work. I could ask Sister Gertrude or Baltus for help. Werner, too. He's much better at Latin than anyone else in town. Maybe even Father Thomas, even though Dad warned me not to bother him with secular books. Chances are slim they could help, but it might be worth asking about. I should finish writing my letters first. Mother Illuminata told me that Matthew knew some of the Abbey's early history. He's the Archdeacon of Zion now. I should write to him before the snows come. I'll write to Esther, too. Option 1 of 2 Most revered Matthew Fosiniso, Archdeacon of Zion. Option 2 of 2 Most revered Matthew Fosiniso, formerly of Kearsaw Abbey. Player says my name is Magdalene Druck Aaron. I'm the daughter of Tassing's town printer, Klaus. My father and I are creating a mural for Tassing's Rathaus. We want to show the history of the town and the abbey. Option 1 of 2 Mother Illuminata told me that you might be the best person to ask about Kearsaw's early history. Option 2 of 2 I heard that you were the sacristan at Kearsaw and knew a great deal about the abbey's early history. Option 1 of 2 Mother Illuminata told me that you might be the best person to ask about Kearsaw's early history. Player says I understand you are a busy man, but we would be most appreciative of any information you could give us. If you know of any other places where we might learn about the Abbey's history, we would appreciate it. Option 1 of 2 Thank you for your help and consideration. Option 2 of 2 I know it may be small comfort, but there are many in Tassing who regret what happened during the revolt. Player says Sister Gertrude is still here, with the poor Clares, and she speaks fondly of the old abbey. Thank you for your help. Magdalene. Esther. Please forgive me for not writing sooner. Option 1 of 2 So much has happened since I last wrote. Option 2 of 2 Christ, I don't even know where to begin. Option 1 of 2. So much has happened since I last wrote. Player says even as my last letter was en route to you, Dad was attacked in the workshop in the middle of the night. He survived, thank God, but his injuries are terrible. I worry about him. He's so dizzy he can't get out of bed. Some days his eyes become foggy, and his memory fails him. Dr. Stahl said that he's not going to recover, that it's only a matter of time before he succumbs to the injury. He's going to do the best he can to make things comfortable for Dad. I'm glad he's here to help. I have no idea who could have wanted to attack my father, or why. I found a note by him, too. All it said was stop. It wasn't from the shop, because the script was written in the most elaborate hand I've ever seen. No one in Tassing has such skill in script, as far as I know, and anyway, I don't have the time to wonder about it. I've had my hands full running the workshop alone while tending to Dad. What's more, the town council intended to cancel the mural entirely. I had a hell of a time convincing them to let me paint it instead. They made a fuss about my being too young, not experienced enough, not strong enough to be on the scaffold. You know how it is. Option 1 of 2. I suppose I shouldn't have expected any better of them. Option 2 of 2. I can't wait to leave this place. Option 1 of 2. I suppose I shouldn't have expected any better of them. Player says working on the mural has been a welcome distraction from the naysayers and my chores, and worrying about Dad. OTZ has been coming over under the pretense of helping me prepare my paints. Option 1 of 2. It's sweet and I'm glad for the company. He makes the days easier. Option 2 of 2. I wish he'd stop. He's not subtle, and his flirting is annoying. Option 1 of 2. It's sweet and I'm glad for the company. He makes the days easier. Player says I'd like to have the whole mural finished by Christmas, if I can. I just want to finish it in time for Dad to see it. It would mean so much to him. If Dr. Stahls is right, I don't know how long I'll have. I hope you're faring better than we are here. All my love. Magda. Thomas. Player says hello, Father Thomas. Can you spare him? Thomas says yes, of course, Magdalene. Player says well, I found this book, but I can't read the Latin very well. Could you help me translate? Thomas says the whole book? Oh, dear. I can't afford that much time away from my duties right now. The Christmas sermon is coming up, and I've already fallen behind on Advent preparation. Could the matter wait, perhaps? I'd be happy to look it over after the festivities. Option 1 of 2. Oh, of course, Father. Option 2 of 2. I suppose. Option 1 of 2. Oh, of course, Father. Thomas says thank you, Magdalene. Thomas. Sleep. Player says it's late. Option 1 of 2. Go to sleep. Reich's postman says Mistress Druck-Aaron. A few more letters for you. Take care. Player says thank you, sir. Safe travels. The first letter is from Reverend Matthew. Matthew says Mistress Druck-Aaron, I was not acquainted with your family during my years at Kiersaw. Even so, I remember your father was one of the townsfolk who prevented the peasantry from burning us. I am not overly inclined to assist the people of Tassing in their endeavors to catalogue the origins of the abbey they destroyed. However, it was a long time ago. In the interest of posterity and Christian charity, I will tell you what I recall. Some time after the Romans left, Christians settled in the region and built Kiersaw Abbey on the ruins of a fortress. The abbey was founded by a noblewoman of the Kiersaw family. She was both its patron and its first. Perhaps 2 centuries ago, Kiersaw changed to being run by an abbot. I do not know the reason, but many other double monasteries did likewise around the same time. It may have been done out of fear of being shut down, as double monasteries were frowned upon by the Pope. Sadly, that is the extent of my knowledge. Your neighbors put any other records about the abbey to the torch. Sic arsit historia Kiersis. Thus burned the history of Kiersa. While we cannot change the past, I have heard that Sisters of the Poor Clares have formed a new chapter at the abbey. I can only hope that their love of apostolic poverty has not driven them to impoverish the shrine of St. Moritz. Assuming they have not consigned the contents of Kiersa's former occupants to a bonfire, you may find something there. It is hard to be overjoyed at the news of your neighbor's late regrets. Many of the injuries inflicted 18 years ago will never heal. Regret cannot undo what has been done, but we can all find redemption through Christ. We must pray for love and reconciliation in the days ahead. In the end, that is all that matters. Winter comes swiftly. Huguenots and Lutherans plague my homeland. Thank the Lord you still live in a land ruled by the one true Church. I hope this has been of some help to you and yours. May God keep and protect you. The Most Reverend Matthew Fossiniso, Archdeacon of Zion. Player says ah. Another reply from Esther. Esther says oh, Magdalene, I am terribly sorry to hear about your father. My parents send their deepest condolences. If we can provide you anything from Prague, you need only send word. I know we are further away than is easy to travel, but I will see that we can do what Hashem allows. Father says that he remembers no one who would want to harm your father, yet, the night I was born, he remembers great strife in town. Perhaps there is old blood over depicting the night of the revolt? That is all he could suggest. We pray for you and your father every day in our offerings. Hashem will make all things right, in time. He will exact justice on the culprit. I am encouraged to hear that the town council let you continue the mural at all. The guilds here would protect your right to complete a job, especially once a contract has been reached. You give the men of council too much grace. Why should you be forced to settle for their old ways of thinking? We live in a new age. An age where art and science have come together. An age when all may read the works of the great sages in their own language. Truly, when your father recovers, I urge you to come visit me in Prague. But I am glad you've found some joy in your work on the mural. We are all well here. Elisha has been carving a new set of wood cuttings, and father has agreed to a new contract with the university. I found Simond. His family didn't move far away after all. He's planning on working as a doctor in the city once the expulsion order ends. His parents have been meeting with mother and father quite often now. So I hope that I will be sending good news in my next letter. With Hashem's help, please inform us of your father's condition in your next letter. Be well. Esther. Player says that's all the letters I have for now. I should head home and check on Dad.